permission to record. Send me up the invite. All right. I'm going to post it on Facebook. All right. It is posted or posting. Okay. I guess let's set that thing up. All right, we're going to try and do this as painless as possible. And hopefully, by the end of this, we can further understand the creation of water, or how we want to replicate the expansion of water. So hopefully it'll work. If I can get my thing clipped to work. Okay. How's my volume? Can you hear me? Come on. Yeah. Let's see. This is a bit bigger. All right. Make sure you guys can see this. All right. This is my left hand. This is my right hand. Okay. To me, it looks backwards. So I need to clarify it. I have taken this roll of 20 gauge, or this is 18 AWG, or 18 gauge copper wire, bare copper wire. And I have dipped it in my activated charcoal and water mixture here. Okay? The whole roll, I've dipped the whole thing in it. That has caused the activated charcoal to stick to the surface of the copper wire. Okay? Because the charcoal is carbon, you're nano coating the surface of this copper wire, and you're giving it an insulated coating. So it's protected now. And it will become, once it dries, a superconductor. Today, I'm going to rebuild the structure of the water molecule. Okay. The water molecule consists of H2O, which means 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen atom. When we use the structure of light, we have to create each individual atom as we would understand it in the way it's created, okay, or the way that's held together and the energy that it puts off, okay? So we're going to create 2 hydrogen atoms to start, okay? And these need to be individual creations when you make them, because when we apply them together, they have to be put in parallel and not in series, okay? When you use all one wire and the wire is uncut, okay, the energy has to go from point A through the center to point B, okay? Whereas when it's in parallel, okay, the energy goes in here, and all 3 of these infinity loops are activated at the same time because they're receiving the same energy, all right? And then it exits out this side. That's the difference between the parallel and the series. The series will increase. If you had another one of these in line here, it would double it, okay? It would move to this, create all this energy, all the energy buildup, and push it down to the next one where it will take that extra energy and compound it and add it to the next series that you put in there, okay? And take that energy and compound it and push it down further and do the thing over and over again as you put something in series. But for the application of the creation of water, we want the hydrogen energy on both of these infinity loops and the oxygen loop here. We want the energy to fire at the same time, so that when it fires at the same time, those molecules all come together at the same time. And those atoms, the individual atoms that you're attracting, are come together at the same time to create that water molecule. You're creating the collision. Now,
Hey guys, I'm here.
hi, can you mute your mic, please? Appreciate it. I'm right in the middle. We're still recording, okay? When the energy comes through and it fires, okay, it's going to send a pulse so fast that it's like smashing it together, okay? So that's what's going to bring those individual atoms together and cause them to bind. And when that happens, it's going to create that water molecule. Well, you need the collision or the collection of water molecules to create a drop. And there's, I think it was 1.7 to the 22nd power or something like that. 1.7 with 21 zeros after it. That's how many water molecules you have to accumulate in order to create a drop of water. So in order to get that drop of water to accumulate that much, your whole design has to be completed in infinity, because now it's going to pulse that energy at 1 trillion times per second. So how many water molecules do you think we can attract to the center? Now, what I'm going to build today is I'm going to build the other part of this, okay? And then I believe there needs to be 4 for this. So I'm feeling compelled to teach today about this, and there needs to be 4, and I need to put another coil, an opposing set of coils over the top of this. So we'll figure that out as we go, but I'm going to make 3 more of these units. So, all right, I'm going to open up the floor. Come on in there, Eric. Sorry, didn't see you. Lori is recording for us today. Are you there? Okay, what I'm doing here is I've just done a double loop like you would start the infinity quad core. Okay, that's giving me the 2 loops, but 4 field interactions, which will create the hydrogen element that I need. Okay, so we're going to take it. I'm holding these wires, the open wires on my left, and I'm twisting to the right. Okay, with my right hand, and I'm just using my fingers. Okay, you can use markers if you want to. You know, some people do it this way to, you know, when I'm doing a certain number of twists, I'll use, you know, different colored markers. And when you do a half twist, you always know that the markers will be opposite themselves. Okay, so you get a half twist here, and you see that the tips of the markers are opposite. That'll always tell you that you'll have an odd number, and most likely follows the Fibonacci number sequence. Okay, if you do a full twist, okay, a full 360-degree twist, then you've completed a circle. Okay, and you get the crystal grid numbers and the crystal grid frequencies. So in order to create an off balance or a reaction, you have to have the Fibonacci number sequence, or you have to have an odd number of turns, okay, in the middle of your neutrino. So that's why I suggested always using 3, okay, 3 half turns. And that gives me a total of 3, the energy of helium inside there, or the power of 3, okay. We get kind of messed up when we name the numbers, okay, because the numbers just are field interactions, okay. The names don't matter, the mass, you know, the atomic mass doesn't matter anymore. All of that stuff is calculated for you automatically when you're using these infinity devices. Okay? So now I've got a completed single hydrogen atom, okay, or the replication of the structure of what happens inside that hydrogen atom, okay? And I always bend over the source side wire, and I need to look at my screen. There we go, okay. Give it a little more contrast for you, okay? Notice that there's 2 wires at the bottom, okay, and 1 at the top up here in this top loop that you can see. And when you complete the circuit here, notice the source side, when you complete the circuit here, it's the same thing as completing this loop, okay, and tying it together, because you've completed the rest of the circuit. But this is what your hydrogen atom structure of light should look like, okay? Look like a little dude with box feet and a box head and some long arms, all right? You need 2, 4, 6, 8. You need 8 of these, okay, to complete this project that I'm making. So I'm going to make a couple more. I'm not very specific on the length here. Different lengths create different size openings for your infinity, okay, which are different strengths. They're, you know, I have a knack for cutting things about the perfect length. So I just go with my gut instinct on what feels right. You know, what am I capable of handling, or what am I what are my intentions? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you're going to see that all of this stuff that I've been doing is repetition. Okay? That's all it is for me, is repetition, because I'm building the same thing over and over and over again. Okay? Remember to bend your one wire over. Leave it as your source. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Put your finger out. Set it off to the side. Okay? Not that difficult. One, 2, 3. And you figure out how the pattern works. You start seeing the pattern. Okay. And you don't have to worry about anything because the pattern is the same everywhere. And this opens up your mind for creation of and solution to any issues. 3. Okay. And it's not hard. You don't have to do much, as far as remember anything. You don't even need to know the periodic table. I just have to use that as a reference for the science guys that are out there, because that's what they can relate to. And, it works for them. It's simple to explain and it's simple to understand. At least it is to me. And I try to make things as simple as possible for the world. And using infinity here is the simplest form of communication, where I can communicate with the world, where they can communicate with me, no matter what language barriers we might have. Energy only speaks one language, and this happens to be the same language that our hearts and our, all of our body, all of that. Sometimes you'll encounter some issues like me, okay, and not making them big enough. So, I think I just need to cut a couple extra wires and replace those. You want to make sure that you got some arm left, because you got to wrap it around your central core wire. There we go. A little better. Still a little short. Remember, don't throw anything away. Don't waste anything, because you'll always have a use for it later. Every experiment that I've ever done, and what some would call a failure, I call it experience. I have a whole room full of them. Each one of those is a test and a personal endeavor, and an effort on my part to work on my soul. So I don't see them as failures, because I'm here today. The simplest form that I can imagine. So let's put my imagination to work and create some water here, or at least what the structure of water would look like, and see if we can't find a way to make it create water and have some fun with it, because I sure would like to have my own lake or something of 100% pure clean water. So let's see here. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 for big boy. And that means I need to make 4 of these oxygen ones. Okay, the 8 loops. And that requires a little bit more wire, but not much. I need to make 4 separate ones. And I use like little Sharpie markers. Here we are. Doesn't matter. You can use 2 different sizes, you know. It does make a difference on the little things, but not so much of a difference because you're still creating the oxygen atom. Okay. I'm going to start by making my loop here, okay, gravitational. But because of the way that this loop is designed and made, the simpler way to do this, all right, is to just start at the other end, okay? And so I put the ends together here to create the crease that you need to make sure that the wire is in the center, okay? And it puts a crease down here at this end, okay? When you do this to a circle, okay, that you've just created with copper wire, you're actually taking this and creating a polarity now. This would be the negative end, okay, where the 2 wires are, where they come together, all right? That would be the negative end, and this would be the positive end of this particular set of wires. If you're to fold this over again, okay, and fold it together and smash it, okay, then you would have, again, the negative end where the wires are, the 2 wires that are open are, and then you would have the rounded ends, okay? That would be your positive end. So if you've ever confused about the polarity of your device, the end that doesn't have any wires coming together, all right, where they have to join, that's the positive end, and this is the negative end, all right? So just so you understand that. But for the purpose that we're making this, we have to start at the positive end of the device, okay? And you follow the same rule as you were if you were to put the wires together at the end. It would literally be the right wire over the left wire, okay? So when you're doing that, you're gonna do the same thing, okay? Looking away. The right wire, okay, goes over the left wire, and that's what starts off your oxygen loop to make it gravitational. Gravitational just means that it's going to attract that oxygen atom or molecule. And then you alternate, okay? It's not, you know, super difficult. It's just alternate back and forth. It doesn't have to be fancy. Okay, we're all just trying to make some water here, you know. I usually have about 3 pins handy, all right, so that I can hold it together. And then I just make 8 loops, okay? And I'm just crossing it over once, just crossing it, okay? Then you can just alternate, hold this together. You know, yeah, you can be really particular on it, okay? And make sure it crosses over in the center. Doesn't, it's not as important, okay? You just need to have 8 circles, all right? And that's the goal here. And repetition, okay? Remember that, repetition. This is all we're doing, back and forth, okay? 7 now, one more, okay? Just remember that when you're crossing your wires, the first one here on the right-hand side kicks it off, okay? And so now you've got your 8 loops that you need. Okay? You can make it look as pretty as you want because people are gonna look. They're gonna wanna watch it. Okay? And in the last couple of classes I was teaching you, okay? Oh, at the very top, twist it a couple of times just to hold it together, okay? And now you've got your solid loop. Doesn't matter which way you twist it, okay? You can alternate it. And now you have one replication of an oxygen atom. The structure of an oxygen atom as you would see it in a cross section or a slice, okay? Like a slice of an orange, all right? And this is how you would build it in the structure of light. This is a gigantic one, okay? You need 4 of those. I'm noticing that as I'm unrolling my spool of copper wire here, that I'm seeing the shiny copper where it appears that the charcoal liquid didn't get in there. So I'm going to go ahead and re-dip it just for the sake of, you know, saying, hey, I want to make sure everything is consistent. So I'm going to dip it again inside there. And then I have a little catch bowl, okay, that I put it in so that it can drip and not make a mess. Okay, literally that simple. Okay, and now I have the peace of mind knowing that all of the surface of this copper wire is nano coated, you know. So
Mike,
yeah,
I was wondering, remember the problems we were experiencing when we were fire nano coating? That when we touch it, it would come off. Would it be the same with the ashes, or is it okay? Because I would recommend deeping it in the ash and water after we do our design. Yes or no? What do you think?
after you're finished with the design, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, after the design is all done, you can spray the whole thing. You know, use it like cold caustic, the ash water.
Sure.
You
Sure.
know,
All right. Cool.
just put it in a spray bottle and you know, use it like cold caustic, and
Right. Right.
you know it'll still do the same thing. So yeah,
All right.
uh,
Cool. Cool.
that's what I did on my Infinity, the IQ Isabel. I'd sprayed the charcoal water on her because it was too big to dip into
Oh,
anything.
nice. 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 Okay.
And when that was done, I let it dry, and then I randomly put GANs, copper oxide, CO2, CH3, and a mixture of my GANs that has all been washed.
Okay.
I randomly put it on the parchment paper after it had dried.
Ah. All right.
So I've got all different kinds of GANs everywhere on every one of the capacitor rings, and there's a dried puddle of dried GANs down there at the bottom of my reactor, that kind of thing.
Right.
Um,
Right. Okay.
it looks sloppy, but it was done on purpose.
Sure.
you know
We can always box it up in something nice after, no? Of
well,
course.
yeah, this is just the internal guts of it. So
Exactly. And it looks beautiful, man. Left to me.
yes, she's putting off about a 3-foot energy field.
Nice.
So, and it's always been, uh, it's consistent. Right now, I've got all my stuff running, and it says 85.3 watts at the wall, and then as the energy is coming back through the plugs and through the device, it says that it's putting out 76.8. So there is about a 10-watt difference.
About 8.8.89, about 8.2 difference exact.
Yeah, and I've got my computers plugged in here and my fans running off of it, and this light
Uh-huh.
that's in my face is on it.
Uh-huh.
So, I've got just the basic load, but I'm about to push the limits on it. But I wanted to make this water stuff first
Right.
because, in case I burn down my shed.
You need water.
Yeah, I need water. So we're going to do safety first here. We're going to make these water. I've got 2 air conditioning units that are mounted in the wall because this used to be my boys' room.
All right.
And, so I've got 2 air conditioning units that I'm going to plug into Isabel.
Okay.
Basically to, say, hey, look what I can do.
Of course.
And, hopefully people will want to pay attention.
Right. Of course. Well, a lot of people's already paying attention.
Yeah. And it's awesome. It makes me feel good, to see solutions, people, hey, thanks. That really helped. She's better.
Right.
She's worked,
Right.
that's my satisfaction. Even though I don't read, or I'm not able to read some of them because, I am on just an iPad, and I get so many tags, and messages, and I get, a lot of pay attention, Mike. You got to concentrate, and I'm trying to at the same time. I get a lot of messages off of Facebook and stuff, and some people aren't very nice, and so I just choose to stay away from,
Right.
the chat, and with everybody going through their own personal issues
Right.
right now, karma as we call it. They're dealing with
Right.
all their emotional stuff. Some people are getting sick. That's just resetting their emotional immune system. So
I actually caught the cold yesterday.
it's
And I'm like, oh my God, how could this actually happen on this day, this special day for me, And I'm like, all right, have to be
it's
something.
just a reset of your emotional immune system, and we start to feel. Um, you'll feel better because you learn to adjust, and you're like, you
Right.
just kind of feel crappy for a couple of days. I
Yeah, I
feel
feel
crappy because I'm a smoker, and
mm,
smoking is my grounding. But I
mm,
actually smoke less because I don't want to be a bad example on the internet.
Right.
So
Just smoke
let's just,
weed, man.
well,
Oh yeah, you
I
told
do,
me about.
I
I
do,
get.
but it gets expensive,
Yeah,
and
that's
and it's one or the other
right. I
for me.
get you.
So I mean, I've read things that Congress has
Nothing is perfect, man.
released, medical marijuana to disabled veterans. So that's what I've heard. But have I seen it? No. Do I want to tempt it? No.
Yeah.
I take care of my stuff. I went from being on 17 different medications every day, and
Oh my God.
one of those
What
medications
happened to you
was
exactly? I can't remember.
one of those medications was 30 milligrams of Valium every day,
Wow. Wow.
and I that's what it took. They told me in order for me to be perceived as normal in public, but nothing
Oh my God.
happened to me except I went to war.
Right.
You know, PTSD is nothing more than a spiritual awakening.
Oh, it's
And
psychological. Oh, all right, right. Yeah, that's what they do. They look at people with that talk about things that they don't know crap about, and they class you as yeah crazy, and then they especially the autistic children too.
mhm.
It's the same thing. Yeah.
Well, the autism is caused by vaccines from
Well, sometimes autism happens, and they didn't really have anything bad involved. But I think these children too they're spiritual beings. They're actually working on a higher dimensional realm.
yes, they are. They see things differently. They have a different perspective, and there's only one perspective when it comes to being able to see the light.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if we treat them like a disease, then it makes us fearful of them because we don't understand them. I'm
Right.
pretty sure I could sit in a room full of autistic children and keep their attention 100% of the time,
Oh yeah.
you know, because I know how to speak their language.
Ah.
And, that's what we're learning here is speaking their language. I can speak to them in shapes and they will understand perfectly what I'm talking
Right.
about, and it's awesome. I have a veteran friend, and he's a former pastor. He uh, his brother-in-law went to Vietnam and was like severely messed with in his head. And
Oh.
we got less than 10 minutes. Okay. But he was severely messed with in his head. And, he knows that they can transmit things through the TV because he's seen it. But, his brother, uh, my friend, he says that, he's crazy. He's just talking crazy stuff, because he doesn't understand how it's possible,
Right.
and it's not his fault. It's not a judgment thing. It's just we don't understand it.
That's right.
So I held a conversation with this veteran, and he walked away with a smile on his face, you know, and nobody can understand him. So, I'm not hurt at all by understanding the language of light, because that's what most people and autistic children or anybody who has a mental disorder is seeing. They're accessing. If you're hearing voices in your head that aren't yours, okay, you're accessing a higher dimensional realm, okay, and it's coming in involuntarily. They just don't know how to shut it off, and so they try to use these drugs to test and find out what they're doing. So the whole psychiatry world, okay, there's never been a cure for any psychiatry issue ever, but there's more and more medications out there. So you know what I mean? They want to tear apart our minds, and those that are special, okay, meaning special as in
Right.
more abilities.
Right. Of course. Exactly.
We're calling them a disease when they're the
Right.
actual ones that we need to be learning from. So, that's the way the society worked and the cabal and everything like that, is they were bringing it up because those children would have brought, you know, the
Like,
world to enlightenment a lot
right.
faster.
Right.
And so, you know, they need to
They look at them
stop
as a
taking,
parasite.
yeah, they need to stop taking any autism medicine or whatever. Um, Parents that have autistic children should learn this right here, this energy, because their children can see that energy. And if they're on any
Right. Right.
medication, that energy is just overloading the body, and the body is unable to handle it. That's why they have seizures sometimes, or that's why they start, being afraid.
Exactly.
And it's the fear that's holding them back. And most of the time they are fearless. That's
Right.
why they
Right.
wander around and, I don't
We
care
have
what
a
they're doing.
case here. We have a case right here in the family. She's about 3 years old,
Hmm.
and she doesn't talk, but she's like I mean, she listens to her mom sometimes. You can't really get her to look at you in your eyes like straight on for like no more than a second or two,
That's
and she
that
couldn't
will
see.
tell you because she can't perceive the third dimension.
Oh, she runs around and she's just picking. You know what she's doing? She's
Hmm.
just picking all the flowers that she can find. She's picking all the roses. She's picking all the petals, and she's just she's smelling them. She's crushing them, and then she runs off and she's picking more, picking more, picking. She's just picking all the flowers on the estate, man. She's
That's
three. She's
awesome.
3 years.
She's uh, she's joining with the flowers. It sounds like when she smashes it, she's making the gans, and
Right,
it's absorbed into the skin. And her body, whatever she's doing, her body is telling her that she needs the nutrients or the energy in those flowers and the petals that she is squishing.
right,
That's what
right.
comes
Okay.
to mind right now. Okay,
Ah,
take
right.
take
Okay.
that take that for what it's worth. I don't know the situation, just except for what you've explained. So,
Mhm.
you know, um, I don't think I know everything. I'm just an open book right now.
Of course, of course.
This is about to end. Um, we'll resume. I've got 3 loops ready here. I've got my 6 loops up here, or 8 loops for hydrogen. I'm going to finish the 4, and then I got to make some coils. So we're going to go ahead and stop it now, and we'll see you back in a few minutes. All right,
All
Lori,
right, great.
we're going to wait for you to get back online. You need to send me a message. Let me know that you're done rendering. Okay, that way
Okay, hopefully I'll work quicker
we
today.
don't want to make you feel like you're missing anything. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Cool.
All right, guys.